I'm not the one to blame for leaving my fiancé after finding out there were strippers at her bachelorette party. Original post. I'm 27, a guy, and my ex-fiancé, also 27, and I were together for 4 years. We should have been married under normal circumstances, but I broke up with her and called off the wedding 2 days before because there were male strippers at her bachelorette party. Personally, I'm not a fan of such parties, but I reluctantly agreed after both sides, bride and groom, confirmed it would be a low-key event. I told my ex that I was uncomfortable with strippers or any crazy stuff, and she agreed. I also warned my friends that if they pulled any nonsense behind my back, we'd have problems. My friends and I spent time at a summer house, by the pool, doing wow things and playing board games. My fiancé and her friends went out to a restaurant and then rented a house through Airbnb. There were no issues that night. The next day, I asked how everything went, and she, along with her close friends, said it was calm and nice. We headed back to the city center. Later, I ran into one of the bridesmaids while picking out a bracelet for my fiancé for her upcoming birthday. I asked her how the party went, as we studied at the same college, but didn't talk much anymore. She said everything was great, and mentioned that last night was wild with the strippers. After those words, she looked embarrassed. I started asking for details, but she didn't want to share much. I think she realized she shouldn't have said anything. I laughed it off, said goodbye, and left. Later, I confronted my fiancé and asked her about it. At first, she was surprised, and then started denying it. Eventually, she admitted that nothing wild happened, but one of the bridesmaids invited the strippers. I reminded her that this was a strict no-go for me. When I started asking for more details, she said there were only solo dances, and that was it. I told her I needed time to think. Almost all the bridesmaids texted me while I was driving home, assuring me that nothing happened, which definitely felt coordinated. In the end, I decided to break up and call off the wedding. I lost some money since the wedding was only 2 days away. Now, the situation is not cool at all. My head is a mess. I'm getting criticism from everyone and don't know what to do. My sister suggested I see a therapist to work through my thoughts and feelings, and that's what I'll be doing next. Some people suggested I reconsider and stop being so whiny over something so small. I don't think it's small, especially when they all tried to hide it from me. Am I really to blame here? Now for the top comments before the update. You're not to blame. It was wild with strippers is very different from everything was calm and nice. This isn't just a lie, it's a complete distortion of the truth. Even her words, "There were only solo dances," don't match what actually happened. They all lied, except for the one who first told the truth. There's also the crazy double standard. The fact that a few mutual acquaintances texted him and told him to stop whining over nothing says a lot. If the situation were reversed, those same acquaintances would help the bride burn the groom's house down. Flip the script, brother. Even my friends would burn me to the ground if I cheated on my girlfriend. Cheating isn't something anyone should support, whether they're a man's friends or a woman's friends. But in my experience, the difference is that men mostly stay silent and never mention the cheating, while women actively lie and create cover for the cheater. A man's lie is, "I was at Tony's." A woman's lie is, "This is your child." Chris Rock. This is very similar to something I recently read in the Today I Learned section about a groom, because this happens often. Some people think cheating at a bachelorette party is normal. It's so stupid. Oh yeah, my friend worked as a programmer for POS systems, mainly in restaurants and hospitality, and he often went to places where bachelor and bachelorette parties were held. This topic came up many times. Almost all bartenders and staff said that more often than not, bachelorette parties are wilder, and the cheating rate is significantly higher than at bachelor parties. They said that many women come there already knowing they're going to cheat on their future husbands, and some other girls cheat on their partners. It's rarely a situation where we drank too much and lost control. Another comment. My roommate and I worked out at a gym full of steroid guys in the late 80s. We met a couple of guys who were also strippers, and they asked us to help them with props during their dances, both for men and women. At 100% of the bachelorette parties, at least one person would engage in intimate relations with the dancers. The same thing happened at bachelor parties, although mostly, I think, because the female dancers didn't encourage it, at least not in most cases. At least 2 of those guys were on penicillin daily because they constantly caught STDs. Yikes. Update. I've read most of the comments on the original post, and I appreciate the advice. My problem wasn't that her friends caught her off guard, but that she lied. Every bridesmaid said different things, and none of them gave details about what actually happened. I think you can understand how that breaks trust and makes you suspect something's going on. I started thinking the problem was me after reading some comments. There were a lot of white knights, and I started wondering if I should apologize. One of the bridesmaids reached out to me last night. I think she saw the post somewhere and recognized it. I knew my ex-fiancé had been having issues with her friends since last week, but I didn't know how bad it was. Turns out, my ex and her close friends blamed the girl I ran into at the mall for everything that happened. This split the group and led to a verbal fight. I'll skip the personal details, but eventually, she told me that my ex and the other bridesmaids had engaged in intimate relations with the strippers. My fiancé was the only one who had a boyfriend, fiancé, as far as I know, monogamously. She also told me that my ex-fiancé wasn't caught off guard by the strippers being invited. She was happy to see them and was relieved to have an excuse. I didn't have proof of all this, but I did have a short video of the girls kissing the strippers. One of them was my ex-fiancé, and that was enough. Since we broke up, she has tried to contact me. I talked to her again. At first, she denied everything. Then it became, we just touched. Then, okay, we kissed. And finally, yeah, I did something with my hands to him. Eventually, she claimed the others pressured her into it when I kept pressing her. I just blocked her after that last confession. I didn't see the point in learning more. It already hurt, but finding out I was cheated on hurt even more. I'm not sure if this is the whole truth, and I'll probably never know, but all I can say is, it hurts. I'm going to see a therapist so I don't carry this baggage into my next relationship. I lost $17,000 on wedding expenses, and I need to focus on filling that void for a while. Some people called me insecure and a funny nerd for playing World of Warcraft at my bachelor party. Isn't the point of bachelor parties to have fun one last time? For me, it was endless raiding with friends, not some last-minute sexual fling with a stranger or having someone else's butt in my face. My wife's butt will always be with me, except for strangers, of course. I have a therapy session tomorrow, and thanks for the support. I'll never understand why people like my ex-fiancé throw everything away for one night. They just don't want to be married. They only want the special day and to be the center of attention. They want the wedding, but not the marriage. She belongs to the type who throws everything away. I have a cousin who did the same thing. She explained to me that she never really believed her boyfriend would leave her because he loved her too much. She honestly thought true love, in her fairy tale world, would conquer all. She still thinks he's wrong, and that he should come back and marry her. She cheated on him and still expected him to beg her to return. Yes, he loved her for 10 years, and she said she thought he would forgive her for everything because she would forgive him for everything. Even now, in her Disneyland, she says love should conquer all. I almost envy her, 35 years old and still thinking like that. But a few women in my family agreed with her, saying that if he really loved her, he would have forgiven everything. I got a short video where the girls are kissing the strippers. One of them is my ex-fiancé, and that's enough. I've been to a dozen bachelorette parties, and none of them turned out like this, which makes me really grateful for the quality of people in my life. I was at a bar with co-workers and their spouses or partners. One bride called one of my co-workers boring and a loser. The reason? The bride wanted to kiss my co-worker's husband on her last night of freedom, and the husband said no. The bride begged my co-worker to convince her husband to change his mind. Part of her group was backing her up too. Like you, I'm glad the people in my life aren't like that. I hate all this nonsense about the last night of freedom. You're about to get married, not go to prison. And if you think marriage is going to take something away from you that you haven't already given up by being in a monogamous relationship, then you shouldn't be getting married. And maybe not even in a monogamous relationship in the first place. Last story. Am I the jerk for not forgiving my mom at my sister's wedding? My story. I'm a 23-year-old guy, and I have a twin sister. When we were 5, our mom left us, and it had a huge impact on us. We went through therapy for a long time because the way she left was a shock. After 17 years, shortly after our 22nd birthday, she reached out to us, saying she wanted to make up for lost time and that she was sorry. I wasn't thrilled with the idea, but my sister gave her a second chance. I didn't object and didn't blame my sister, but she kept pushing me, saying I needed to hear her out because she's our mother. I politely declined. I told my sister that our mother doesn't get to decide when she wants to be in our lives and when she doesn't, and she can't clear her conscience through me because my time is too valuable. My sister respected that, for the most part. Fast forward to now. Before the wedding, my sister told me our mom would be part of the ceremony, and I didn't make an issue of it. It was her wedding, and if she wanted that woman there, who am I to say no? I only said that I definitely wouldn't be interacting with our mother at the event, and my sister agreed, because she knew that was my way of keeping the peace. At the rehearsal dinner, everyone was gathered and having a good time, but my mom kept trying to start a conversation with me. I ignored her and kept my distance. Then, my mom decided to corner me with a victim speech, saying she wasn't ready to be a mom back then, and that she just wants a relationship with me. She didn't understand why I didn't want to talk to her. Keep in mind, I've always said I understand she wasn't ready to be a mother, but that doesn't mean I have to be okay with being abandoned, and I'm definitely not obligated to forgive her. I told her to leave me alone and respect my decision not to want to know her or have her in my life. She started crying and causing a scene, saying she wouldn't be able to come to the wedding anymore. My sister says I ruined her chance to have a mom at the wedding, and that I couldn't set aside my petty pride for her. All I could say was that her mother made the choice not to come, and that had nothing to do with me. The wedding wasn't about me. So, am I the jerk in this situation? Responses: she's still choosing herself over you and your sister. If she really cared about you, your feelings, and your sister's feelings, she would have given you space to come to her on your own and just showed up at the wedding. But she showed her true colors. It's always been about what she wants. I'm sorry. I hope you had a good childhood despite this. You're absolutely not the jerk. Not even close. Your mom is acting selfish and entitled, and she's hurting her daughter all over again. I would encourage your sister to realize that she's been trying to build a relationship, but she's been doing all the work. It's unfair, and I hope one day her mom realizes what she's done. Though I doubt it. It's easier to be the victim than to take responsibility. She's just as selfish now as when she left. She hasn't learned a thing. You're definitely not the jerk. Your mom has the audacity to abandon your sister all over again. You did nothing wrong, and you don't owe this woman anything. I feel sorry for your sister, but she's angry at the wrong person. Mini update. I'm grateful for all the comments. My sister didn't invite me because she knows I love her no matter what, and would show up anyway. But she admitted she was really upset that our mom decided not to come. I had to sit down and tell her to talk to that woman, because there's no point in missing her own wedding just because I don't want to speak to her. My sister is at peace now, but I'll keep you updated.